is the Parenting Talk Show with Coach Ayooluwa. My name is Ayooluwa Adedeji. I am the parenting guru. I am your sure plug, your guiding light on your parenting journey. And this is me today on another episode of the Parenting Talk Show with Coach Ayooluwa. I'm sorry, I am 15 minutes late to class. My laptop keep hanging, my slides keep hanging, but somehow I've been able to figure that out. So I am sorry for keeping you waiting in case you have been expecting me. So today, like every other day, is another educative and expository session on the Parenting Talk Show with Coach Ayooluwa. But let me start by, acknowledging the heaviness in many of us. Sorry. All right, let me acknowledge the heaviness many of us are feeling right now. As for me, I feel terrible. I feel so sad. I feel it pains me when something, especially when a life is lost, a death, that can be avoidable death. It pains me so much. And in case you do not understand, let me first acknowledge the evidence that we are feeling right now as we discuss something very sobering. Something that shouldn't have happened. Something that you and I may somehow contribute to without us knowing. That is the truth. A Nigerian student, 19-year-old young lady, Timileyin Faith Opemipusi, a resident of Ikorodu, side of Lagos State, took her own life after failing a JAMB examination, UTME. From the news, I got that she scored 190. From the past UTME results that came out, and possibly that was not what she was expecting. Obviously, that was not what she was expecting. So due to that, she took her own dear life. A 19-year-old lady, young lady, just because of exams. Let's understand this. A life is lost. Not because she's lazy, not because she didn't have potentials, not because she doesn't have what it takes to succeed, but because in her own eyes, failure meant end to everything. Failure meant end to everything in our own eyes. Then, days later, we discovered that the JAMB registrar, Professor Oloyede Isiaq, issued an apology admitting that the mass failure was due to their system error, to their own organizational error. But by then, it was too late. By the way, I couldn't say if Timileyin Opemipusi was affected or not. But the news reported that she scored 180. And because of this, she took her own life. And I read from people's comments, people saying that the registrar should resign, that the registrar should be sanctioned, the UTM board should be queried, and all that. Excuse me. Why I accept that the JAMB joint admission board must have committed a grievous error, their organization could be impaired, resulting to mass failure. While people see jam system error, I see parenting error. That is what I see. I see a failed support system. While people see UTME, jam, organization error or failure, I see support system failure. This is not a jam issue. This is a parenting issue. This is a societal issue. This is emotional resilience issue. And today we need to face it on. You know why this thing bothered me? Because I have handled a case that would have ended up like Timile's case. And I think it's high time that we talk to ourselves, that we sit down and have that hard conversation. What turned the tide was that this lady was able to confide in me. Probably Timile didn't have anyone closer or trusted adults to confide in, or maybe she was just overwhelmed because she couldn't undo failure and she decided to end it all. A precious life. A precious life. It takes courage. It takes a whole lot to end one's life. It takes courage to end one's life. What it means is that we have lost a courageous soul. Similarly, Faith Okpemikusi didn't take our own life because of low UTME score. That was just the tip of the iceberg. There's something wrong underneath. There is an issue beneath the surface that we need to address so that we can save another Timile. Who knows? I read that about 3,000 or something students were affected by the mass failure. Who knows how many Timile, are still in the pipe. This should never happen again. This should not happen again. So today we are having this hard conversation. How to show up with love when a child fails. There's a way to show up and there's a way not to show up. There is a way to show up and there is a way not to show up. I have said it for those that have been my followers, that have been reading from my page. I have said it again and again. That the way we were raised to believe that failure is a bad thing is wrong. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is the pathway to success. Failure is part of the process to fulfill destiny, to make it in life. At one point or the other, we will fail. Ask successful people. Ask people that are successful. Ask them. They probably have story of their failure are usually even more than their success story. Their failure story are even more than success story. But because oftentimes we don't begin our success story from failure story. We just come out and start celebrating our success. We don't take it in. We won't see it as if they have gone through failure before they can end up on that part of their success. So today, let's sit down. Let's have this conversation. How not to show up. How to show up when a child fails. Children will fail. Adults will fail. As a parent, think back. If you can keep record, look back. No matter how successful you are today, think back. There will be a moment in your life that you feel like a failure. that you feel that something is not really working the way you expected them to work. To different people, failure might mean different things. Yes, for a business owner, failure could mean different things. For a student, failure could mean different things. For an entrepreneur, failure could mean different things. But the truth is that at some point in our lives, there's that moment where we feel like our efforts are not yielding the desired results. And that is, the common ground, the common definition that we can give failure. So, let me start by talking about the pressure cooker. Pressure cooker. Like many other countries, African countries, just like Nigeria is a high pressure society. When it comes to academics, you hear parents saying to their children, you must pass, you must make us proud, you must not disgrace us, you must not embarrass us, you must make A's in all your papers. While I don't have problem with that, it is okay to do good, it is okay to do well, it is okay to have high scores, but what we are saying to our children, if we keep beating the drum of success, is that we are subtly and directly we are tying their worth to grades. When you keep telling your children, you must pass, you must not fail, you must make us proud, you must not disgrace us, you must have A's, you must not fail English. What we are doing is subtly and directly, we are tying our children's worth to grades. And that is what the society has turned to. Pressure, high pressure society. And when we see children who didn't have high scores, we assume, we just conclude that this child is not doing well. We even call some children dullard. There's no dullard anywhere. No child is a dullard. That is what we believe. That is what our mother believes at the Modern Family Focus. No child is a dullard. What it just means is that children learn in different ways, different times, and in different environments. If you have a child who is struggling with learning, that child is not a dullard. You just haven't identified that child's learning style, and you haven't engineered your environment to fit into the child's learning style. That's just it. No child is a dullard. I say it again. No child is a dullard. No child is a dullard. I have seen a child with cerebral palsy. For those of us that are following Tunde Onokoya, the chess master, see how he picked up children that has been written off, and they are doing excellently well. No one can tell me that a dullard is leading chess game. Chess game is a game of the intellect. It's for smart brain. When you are playing chess, you are playing it with your brain. You are thinking. So no child is a dullard. So what I'm saying is, in essence, is that while it is okay for children to have good grades, to score well in their UTME, in their WAEC, in all that, their worth shouldn't be tied to their grades. In essence, your children are more than their grades. Did you get that? Your children, they worth more than grades. They worth more than the red pen in their report sheet. This pressure of you must pass, you must not fail, you must have A's in all your paper, this pressure is deafening. It's deafening. We celebrate children only when they win, only when they pass, Only when they bring home the trophy. Hey. But here is a question. Here is a question. What happens to the children who fail? What happens to a child who fails? Is the child written off? Of course, no. Of course, no. Do we know how to hold space for that child to say you are still loved? To say you matter? To say that you can still rise again? To say that I am here to help you, even when you fail. I've been making series of posts on my Facebook page because I was heartbroken. I was heartbroken. When your children fails, I made a post. If your child has failed recently, you don't need to be worked up. You don't need to be worked out. Walk up to that child, hug that child tightly. Tell that child, I appreciate you for showing up. Even though you have failed, but you are not a failure. You can do better. You are more than your results. And that is the truth. That is the truth. A failed exam should never lead to a failed life. A failed exam should never lead to a failed life. A failed exam should never end the life. It should never end the life. It should never end the life. Too many children don't hear that. So when they fail, they don't just fail an exam. They believe that they have failed at life. They have failed, that there's nothing good they can do again. And that's not true. That is not true. Even with low scores, there are greater things that our children can do. Should they strive for good grades? Oh yes, they should. They should. They should. We should encourage them, but we should not pressure them. We should encourage our children to have good grades, but we should not pressure them. That pressure is unnecessary. That pressure is unnecessary. The result of that pressure will outweigh the success that you are expecting. Watch it. So, what do we do when failure feels like the end? Let's explore what happens emotionally first to a child when a child fails. Excuse me. What happens? Sorry, I'm fighting cold. So I need to take lots of fluid. So what happens? What happens to a child when a child fails? You know, when a child fails, we think we are affected. We are the one that is affected. We think because you have paid the school fee, you have made provision, so that child's failure is really affecting you, and you begin to give the child both both, talking up and down, getting angry and all that. But there are things that happens within that child. No matter how irresponsible we think that child is, the first thing is shame. They feel like they are a disappointment. Take it. When a child fails, deep within that child, it is because we don't allow our children to express themselves. When a child fails, the child is already feeling like a disappointment. The child is already feeling isolated, like they may not feel safe to talk to anyone, especially if their value is based on performance. If you have been the parents who have been emphasizing you must pass, you must have first class, you must do this, you must do that, they feel like they are not safe because they have failed. They are afraid. They feel fearful. Will my parents still love me? Will I be punished? What is the next thing that is going to happen to me? What do I do with my failure? These are what goes on emotionally. You are not the only one dealing with the failure. The child that failed knew that she has failed. So the failure is not only about you, it is out of ego that you carry your child's failure on your head, and you start boiling, you start boiling. Now let's build another layer. What if the child has already been hearing things like, if you fail, don't come home? I've heard parents say that to their children. If you fail, don't come home. What big balo? Go find somewhere to go. I don't want to see you if you fail. You are just like your useless uncle. Some will even say, especially for women that are, that are the one paying school fee, taking responsibility. They say things like, you are just as useless as your father. You are just as useless as your father. After all the money we have spent on you, after everything I have done for you, you still fail. This is the result you are bringing to me. These seeds are of emotional destruction. This seed that you are sowing with your mouth, they are seeds of emotional destruction. They are seeds that destroys our children's emotions. When love is louder than pressure, you know what happens? Children thrive. Even when they fail, they thrive. When love is louder than pressure, children thrive. Even in failure, they thrive. So what are the roles of parents? What are your roles? This is where I'm going. What are your roles? This segment is about shifting the spotlight from the child's performance to the parent's response. It is where the transformation begins. This is where the transformation happens, not in the results our children bring up, but in how we as a parent undo those results. How? And the first thing I want to let you know, please, if you are watching this, whether you are with me online or you are watching this later, please share the link to this live session to parents on your contacts. Let people see and learn, so that this incident will not repeat itself. Is the tradition, especially in Nigeria, is when things like this happen, we make noise, we shout, and everything goes back as if nothing happens, without digging deep into why this happens, so that we can learn from the incident and not make the same mistake. This shouldn't happen. And how can we stop this? Is by learning what to do as a parent when our children fail. So if you are watching me, share the link to this video to parents on your contacts. Let parents learn. Teachers, educators, there are things we need to learn, unlearn, and relearn for us to make the positive impact that we desire. All right. The first thing I like to tell you is that your child is not their grade. That your child, that Precious, Tofumi, Tose, Janet, they are not their grades. They are not their grades. Your children are not their report sheets. Come on. How will you reduce your child? A child that God intentionally designed, a purpose that was wrapped by flesh, given to you. How will you reduce that child to a common sheet of paper? To a common sheet of paper. How? Your child is not the grade. Your children are not the results that they bring home. You see that red, that D, that C, that you see in your children's report card. That is not your child. It is a matter of how you define your child. My own children are not defined by their scores. The truth is that examination is not the true determinant of our destiny. No exam, no examination can measure the destiny of a child. I said that. No examination. Mention that examination, no matter how tough the exam seems to be. No examination can measure the destiny, the potential in your child. So why reducing your children to a sheet of paper, a mere sheet of paper? Why would you do that? It is an error. It is an error to perceive your child, to receive your child as the results that was given by human being. No. Your child should be defined by their abilities, by their potential, by their uniqueness. That special thing that your child can do at ease without applause. See, let me be clear. Let me be really clear. Your child is not their test score. They are not the red ink on the paper or the percentage of their results slip. You know, most times during third term in Nigeria, we are in third term, and after third term, after the whole session, schools will organize prize giving day, and they will be giving prize for best students in mathematics, best students in English language, best students in physics, best students in this and that. What about children who are not best in those subjects, but who showed up every day? Who showed up every day? How about them? And you will hear parents, Ayo collected prizes. She took best students in the mathematics. Does she have to are you not in the same class? You know, the comparison game begins, and you destroy your children's emotions. You reduce your children to nothing. That your child is not best in English language, that your child is not the best student in mathematics or in physics, doesn't mean that your child is bad or is poor, is not doing well. What about the creative arts? What about the painting? As simple as it is. What about that? What about that? Your children are whole being, breathing, feeling, human being, full of promise, full of potential, full of purpose. No examination can measure destiny. I say that again. No examination can measure destiny. If you are watching me and you are that parent that has tied his or her children's worth to grade, please come down from that table today. Come down from that table today. No result sheet can measure your child's worth. Your children are more than that result. If you have this mentality, you won't be bothered even when your child fails. You will embrace them, help them to learn from that behavior, assist them to make goals, and encourage them to try again. To try again. And when they have that courage to try again, when they try again, they will do better. Too many parents unknowingly tie their children's identity and self-esteem to academic success. Please, dear parents, don't make that mistake. Don't make that mistake of tying your child's identity and self-esteem to academic success. When this happens, the child starts to believe that if I don't perform well, I am not lovable. That if I don't perform well, I am not lovable. If your child believes that if he or she doesn't perform well, he or she is not lovable, then there is a problem. There is a problem. A big one. Don't ever make that mistake of tying your child's identity. I am repeating it. I know what I am saying. I work with children, I work with teenagers, and I know what some of them are passing through because their parents have tied their worth to academic success, to academic performance. That should not be you. Not anymore. If you are on call with me, if there's anything you are going home with, that you are leaving this session with, is not to tie your child's worth, your child's identity to academic success. The second thing I'd like you to know is that your response to their failure will shape their identity. How you respond to your children's failure will shape your children's identity. Our children are watching how we absorb, how we respond in their moment of failure. They are watching, they are learning. They may not express it. But when your child writes tests and your child fails, how you react, they are watching. And this will shape how they see themselves. If your response is with shame, if you respond with shame, they will learn to hide. Your child will learn to hide. If you respond with sarcasm, a lot of us are good at that. If you respond with sarcasm, they feel small. They are reduced, probably to nothing. Yes, is that serious? If you respond with silence, they feel emotionally abandoned. But when you respond with empathy, they learn, I am still loved. Even when I fail, I am still loved. Even when I fail. Do you know what that can do to them? That when I am failed, I am still loved. And the truth is, our children, love is not earned. Our children should not earn our love. Yes, they are our children. We should love them regardless. Whether they pass, whether they fail, we should love them. We should love them. A child's developing brain, wires itself around parental responses, around reaction. Consistent love and empathy. Consistent love. Not conditional love. Consistent love and empathy build resilience. If you love your children consistently, they will build resilience. Harshness or indifference builds shame and anxiety. If you're unnecessarily harsh on your children, what you are doing is that you are building shame and anxiety. You are reducing them. You are reducing their self-worth. That is what you are doing. So your response to your child's failure will shape your child's identity. So how do you respond when your child fails? How? Excuse me. All right. The third thing I want you to know is that emotional safety matters than academic performance. Emotional safety, it matters. I made a video on emotional intelligence, how to raise emotional intelligent children. The video is on my YouTube channel. If you have not watched it, please watch it. It will help you. It will help your children. And if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe. I have 37 different videos on parenting. You can't watch all these videos and remain the same. I can bet it with you. Definitely, you can't watch those videos and remain the same. And I talked about emotional intelligence. One of the things I said in that video is that children who are emotionally intelligent, they do well academically by default. By default, if you are intentional to raise emotionally intelligent children, you don't have to pressure them to do well. They will do well. You don't have to pressure them. They will do well. I'm going to have a session on how to prepare your children to do well academically. Because in all of this, the point is not to celebrate failure, not to be careless with our children, not to encourage them to do it. No, that's not what I'm saying. That is not what I'm saying. That is not what I'm saying. We need to do our own bits. We need to be there. We need to encourage them. But when failure happens, there are things we need to do. There are things we don't need to, because definitely at some point, our children will be faced with challenges. So I'm talking about emotional safety. I said emotional safety matters more than academic performance. I said it also in that video that if you are intentional to raise emotionally intelligent children, they grow up to be better friends, better spouses, better friends. They do well academically. They do well. So let me say this as plainly again as I can. Emotional safety is not optional. Emotional safety is not optional. It is foundational. It is as important as food and water that you give to your children. Your child needs to know that that no matter what they score, no matter what mistake they make, they are safe with you. You need to make your children safe emotionally. You need to, to let them know that no matter what happens, you are there to receive them. You are there to receive them. Sometimes they go, this is the message I sent to my son at school and our daughter. I sent a voice note to their teacher to tell them that no matter how tough life is, no matter how difficult, life seems, no matter how hard life is on them, that we, their parents, we are always available to help them, to support them, that our arms are always open to receive them. That is emotional safety. Letting your children know that they are safe with you. That they are safe with you. It is important. You need to make your children to know that your home is a shelter and not a war zone. Don't make your home a war zone. Hey, you have failed. You have done this. Yeah. No. Sorry, the network went off. No child, I was talking about emotional safety. No child will thrive in such home. No child. They will manage to survive. If you make your home a war zone, no child will thrive. They will only survive. Let them know that your love is not a reward. It is today, but we move. Yes, we move. So you need to make your children feel safe emotionally with you. Children who are emotionally safe find it easy to bounce back. Olayinka Andrew, thank you for joining me. I see you. Thank you so much for joining me. Children who are emotionally safe, who their parents, has created emotionally safe environment for them, find it easy to bounce back after failure. A child who is emotionally safe will not think of ending his or her own life because he or she failed just an exam. No. A child who feels safe wouldn't do that emotionally. That child will sit back, find why the failure happens, learn, and stand and rise to try again. I shared one of my live sessions about 2 or 3 times ago when I went to pick our daughter in school. On their first day, they started exam. And as I was about leaving the gates, a teacher ran to me and was like, please, ma, you need to help your daughter. She didn't do well in her exam today. You need to revise with her and all that. Fine, I was listening. Fine, that's okay. But she ended our conversation with, so that she would not fail. And I was like, so that she will not fail. She can fail. There's no big deal in failing. We have provided everything we need to provide for her. We sent her to school, we provided food, we engineered our home for her to learn. It is our responsibility to study and pass her exam. And if she has chosen not to, that's her problem. When she fails, at least she will learn what to do so that she will not fail again. So that she will learn. As a matter of fact, we need to give our children platform to fail. Like I do say that our home is a training ground. Outside is not a training ground. Outside should be, outside is the world. Let me put it that way. The world is a place where your children will put the training they have gotten at home. They will put it at work there. So if you are waiting for your children to go and learn outside, it is disastrous. It is disastrous. So eventually, she wrote that exams. She didn't do well. And what I mean wasn't that she had failed, F or something. She had C's. The least grade she had was C. And when she came home, when we received the results, we showed her, this was your result. We explained to her. Then she was in basic 2. We explained the results to her, and she asked, what does C means? And we explained to her, this is what C means. Even without us telling her that you didn't do well, you failed, or you did that, there was a look. There was a look all over her. She felt that she hasn't done well. That she hasn't done well. And we just guided her through goal setting. Not to, to bombard the child with shame. You have disappointed me. You have failed. You have done this. No. You need to make your children emotionally safe. Emotional safety matters more than academic performance. So the next time your child brings a disappointing result home, what you should do is to take a deep breath. I know it can be tempting, especially if you're not emotionally intelligent parent. It can be tempting. As for me, no failure will shake me. Is it the failure that I failed before? I have failed before. So it's not a big deal. That a child fails is not a big deal. You failed, fine. So why did you fail? That is the discussion. Why did you fail? What made you fail? Okay, what can you do so that the failure will not repeat itself? Go back to the drawing board. Find out what you can do. Set your goal and pursue it so that you can do better. So when next your child comes home with hurting results, take a deep breath first. Look at them in the eyes. Say, thank you for showing up. It is not easy for a child to every day wake up, dress up, go to school, come back, do home fun, read, write exam. No. It is not easy. Appreciate that little effort. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for showing up. The first day at school when our children resume this term, I sent a voice note to them at school and I was appreciating them that thank you for last term. You go to school every day. You come back, you do your own fun. Thank you for showing up. We are proud of you. No matter your results, we believe in your ability. We believe that you can do more. We believe in your resilience. Those are the words that I send to our children in school. Those are the things that they need to hear so that they can thrive. So that they can do well. Those who feel unsafe or unloved when they fail may spiral into depression and it may end up the way Timley ended up. That shouldn't happen again. That shouldn't happen. That shouldn't happen. That should not happen. Tell them, I know it's hurts. I can walk you through. Let's walk through this together. We can walk through this together. That is what parenting is all about. That is what parenting is all about. Our children don't need perfect grades. They need present, supportive parents. They don't need perfect grades. Should they do well? Yes. Try your best. Try your best. But even at that, when they fail, know that they are not their grades. You know, sometimes life humbles us. There was, I think last year or 2 years ago, our extracurriculum activity was planting. Excuse me. Our extracurriculum was planting. So I gave our children pots to plant ewedu. They plant ewedu seed. If you are watching me at Ayooluwa, you understand. They planted ewedu seed and they were watering it. You know, each of them were watering their pots. Some days they would remember to water their pots. Some days they would. And after some time, the ewedu grew up. But there was one particular pot that no single seed survived. No single seed survived. And when we were harvesting the ewedu, of course, I took them to the pots and I was telling them, I said this, see this ewedu, this one grew very well, very green, you know, did wonderfully well. And I told them, you planted this seed, the seed was viable, was alive, the soil was good, you watered it, the sunlight was perfect, the breeze was okay, and it grew well. And I showed them another pot, and I asked them, did you remember we planted here? They said yes. Did we water this pot? They said yes. How come no seed, not even a single seed, germinated? I told them that is life. Sometimes that happens in life. You put in the best. You do all the work. You know, you tried all that you can. You put in all your efforts and you are expecting fantastic results. And boom, you have nothing to show for it. It happens. That's happened to me many times. And I told them that this is life. That is why I say, I made a post. If you are a parent, if you are raising children and you are not planting, you are wrong. Planting will teach practical lessons. It's the simplest, in its simplest form. So that is life. It's possible that your children study, you know, they go to school, they try their best, and they still fail. It is possible. So because they fail, you will rub off all the efforts of going to school for almost 3 months? No, we should learn to appreciate the process, not just the results. Appreciate the process, the hard work, not just the results. Not just the results. Now let's go to the last segment. How to support a child through academic failure. How to support a child through academic failure. Now let's transit from awareness to action. I have talked about, and I'm sure by now you are aware, and you may be wondering, what exactly is coach saying? What should I do? How should I show up when my child fails? Or what does failure looks like? Does that mean when my child fails, I should be dancing? I should take my children out for, you know, outing and all that? No, this segment will give you practical, compassionate steps that you can use to transform failure into growth. The first thing you need to do when your child fails is to listen without judgment. Listen without judgment. Listen without judgment. When your child is hurting, they don't need lectures. We are full of that. When your child is hurting, when your child is the child is feeling rejected already, That is when you're not saying you are a disgrace. You are a big disgrace to this family. After all the money we spent on you, after everything we have done for you. No, you shouldn't do that. They need your presence at that time. Don't rush to fix it or to explain what didn't go wrong, what went wrong. Sit, listen, let them express themselves, let them speak. If they need to cry, let them cry. Let them feel, let them express. That safe space you create might be the very great thing that will save their lives. Silence can be more powerful even than words. Sometimes your calm presence communicates. It communicates like you are safe with me. You are still loved. Hold the moment, not the mic. Hold the moment. Hold the moment. I share on my Facebook page. If you are not following me on Facebook, you are missing out. Because every day I talk about parenting on my Facebook page. I once had an issue. I once handled an issue that would have ended up like Timile's case. But what shifted the tide, like I said earlier, was that she gained courage to confide in me. And she told me she was having suicide thoughts because she failed her exams. And I didn't pray. I didn't cast out any demons. You know, sometimes we take emotional issue, we take it spiritual. I didn't pray. I didn't cast out any demons. What I did was that I sat her down and I opened the pages of my failure. I opened the pages of my failure. And every point, everything that I said, I kept saying that our face was getting lightened and lightened. Lightened and lightened. I first sat, listened to what he wanted to say before I begin to share my success story. Now I'll conclude the story. Use affirming words. When your children fail, affirm them. Our words have power. I've made a video. I had a live session on how our words shape our children's identity. See, your words are powerful. You can mold your children's destiny with your word. And you can tear down your children's destiny with this same mouth of yours. In the moment of crisis, your affirmation words can become your child's internal voice. Say things like, this is hard, I know. But you will get through it. We can get through it together. Say things like, your result doesn't define who you are. I know that this is the result, but this is not who you are. You are more than your result. You are more than the red pen. You are more than the failure. I am proud of your efforts, not just your results. I am proud of you. When you affirm your child's identity beyond performance, you lay foundation. You lay foundation for emotional security, just like I've said. This strengthens their worth and reduces fear of future failure. See, let me tell you this. If your child is afraid of failure, your child will end up a failure. If your child is afraid to fail, in fact, that child is already a failure. I don't like to call a child a failure, but let me say it as it is. If you have raised your children to be afraid of failure, that child is already a failure. That child is already a failure. So you need to raise your children to appreciate their self-worth, to reduce the fear of failure. How? By using affirming words of affirmation. Normalize failure. That's the next thing. Normalize failure. Like I told you, I shared my failure story. See, as much as you share your success story, share your failure story too. Share how you failed, that course that you failed in the university. Share. Don't just tell them, I used to take first position in class. Yes, we know. But that interview that you attended and you failed woefully, tell them. Let them know that life is not a race course. There are times you stumble. There are times you rise. Failure is not when you actually fall. It is when you fail to rise, when you fall. That is my definition of failure. Don't just talk about your success story. Talk about when you fail too. Say, I didn't always get it right either. I once failed a test too. I once failed an examination. I once failed an interview. But I didn't stop trying. I kept on working. This tells your children that failure is not the end. Failure is not the end. It is part of success. Children need to know that growth comes from struggle. They need to know that they need to struggle. They need to work hard. When they fall, they need to rise again. That is what growth means. So by sharing your journey, your success story, starting from your failure story, you teach them that failure is not the dead end. No, failure is not. Failure is not the dead end. It's a detour that can lead to maturity and resilience. Failure is not the dead end. Not at all. Not at all. Destigmatize mental health. Let's break down, this mental health issue. Mental health is not luxury. It's not luxury. Ask your children, how are you feeling? Normalize feeling. Let them express themselves. Stop saying boys don't cry. When they need to cry, let them cry. Give them safe space to express their feelings, to express their emotions. It is okay to cry. It is okay to cry. Let your children know. Let them feel safe. Create space for emotions like sadness, anxiety, fear. Say it's okay to talk to someone. In our house, we have feeling charts on the wall. We have it on the wall. The children will walk there. They know what it means to feel sad, what it means to feel anxious, what it means to feel depressed, what it means to feel sleepy, what it means to feel happy, and all that. What it means to feel excited. This is building healthy mental health for our children. It builds healthy mental health for them. If you need to see a therapist, if you need to see a counselor, let your children see. Mental health is not a luxury, it is a lifeline. I keep saying it. Mental health is not a luxury. It is foundational, it is a lifeline. Be open about it. Be open. Then the next thing I like to say, and the last thing here, is to reframe success. Reframe success. Tell your children that achieving is not as the same as becoming. Becoming is greater than achieving. Becoming means becoming what God actually wants you to become. I am currently writing a book. I'm almost done with that book, and trust me that book is going to be a life changer for parents. I'm done with it. We are doing the proofreading. If the book is out, please do well to get it and read. I title it Why Finding a Lost Purpose. There in that book, you will see the definition of success. Definition of success is not general. No. My own definition of success is different from your own definition of success. Why? Because our purposes are different. What God wired us to do is different. So you need to reframe success. Success is not just A straight. It's not a child getting 300 plus in UTME or having all A's in WAEC or DECO or in any exam or taking first position. Success is not limited to medicine or engineering. Real success is your child becoming what God wants your child to become. That is real success. With integrity, with purpose, and with joy. Teach your children that becoming is greater than achieving. Teach your children that becoming is greater than achieving. I say it again. Teach your children that becoming is greater than achieving. It is. Teach your child that success is not what they score, but what they become. When you shift the definition of success, you release your child from performance, from the pressure of performance, and you open the door to purpose-led living. Let me explain that again. When you shift the definition of success, you release your child from pressure of performance to an open door. You open the door to purpose-led living, purpose-driven living, and that is what success should be. So let me close with this. I know we want the best for our children. You know, I've heard parents who say, but I have good intention. I know. I'm also a parent. I know that we have good intention. But your good intention will not erase the damage your intention will cause. And that is why you need to parent with knowledge. That is why you shouldn't miss parenting talk show. There are lots of things. We haven't even started. There are a lot of things that you are going to learn on this talk show about parenting. And like I've always said, all the strategies, the tools that I'm sharing with you, if you can take time to implement them, if you can take time, you can be intentional to implement them, honestly, believe me, you will raise well-balanced children. Some of these things that I'm teaching here for free, they are paid courses. Yes. They are paid courses, but because I have this deep-seated conviction that parenting is a calling, I want to see you thrive in your parenting journey. I want to see our society thrive, because I know that our society, what we see in our society, is a function of who we are raising from our families. So, like I was saying, that I know you have good intention. Even when your child fails, all the gbas, all the all the abuse, all the shege that you show your children is out of good intention. But you need to do it with knowledge. So, to parents listening to me, if your child has ever failed recently, go and hug your child and tell that child, you are not a failure. This is not the end. This is not the end. Let your child hear this. Prepare your child for failure even before they fail. Let them know there's something called failure and that they are likely to experience it in their journey of life. Even before they fail, let them know. When results out, let your love heal. This is what true parenting is. A failed exam should never lead to a failed life. When love is louder than pressure, children thrive, even when they fail. Our children don't need perfect grades. They need present, supportive parents. Teach your child that success is not what they score, but what they become. Thank you for joining me on this heart-centered conversation. My name is Ayooluwa. I am the parenting guru. I am proud to be called the parenting guru. I am the founder and the lead consultant at the Golden Family Focus. If you need any guide, any help on parenting, please do well to contact me and I'll be glad to help you out. If you have not followed me on my Facebook page, please do so. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. I have life-changing, life-transforming videos on parenting on my YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me on this episode. See you next week, and until next time, keep parenting with intention.